please join me, one and all, for a new segment that I will be calling Monkeying Around.
Monkeying around. I like the Cockney accent that's coming out.
Well, I also thought it's funny that you're like, oh, I should have done my other segment. We could have kept on with the accent. And I was like, I have a segment with an accent. What are the odds?
Also, I do have to say, like, obviously, I looked and saw your segment name right before we recorded, but I swear on everything, I put in my intro monkeying around before you named your segment. Because at first, you did not call it that.
I didn't
You
have
had something else written.
This segment
it was
changed
like
8
down
times.
the rabbit hole or whatever.
It was going to be a down the rabbit hole. But here's what happened. Yeah. I have noticed that my future episode topics list that I keep running contains a handful of stories revolving around apes. And anytime I see a pattern occurring, I start thinking of new segment ideas.
Correct.
So monkeying around came out of that. And I have...
It just made me so happy that we both did
We both said monkeying around. I have 2 monkey stories today.
Oh.
First one's fun. Second one's not as fun. So first up. Do you know who Ken Allen is?
No.
Okay, this is so funny. I don't know why they did this. So Ken Allen was an orangutan that lived at the San Diego Zoo.
His name was Ken Allen?
His name was Ken Allen. I don't know why. It's the funniest name I've ever heard. He was a Bornean orangutan too, so he's the one with the really big fat faces, and his name was Ken Allen.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Ashley, I thought you were going to say that was the name of
guy.
The scientist doing research. Ken Allen is not the orangutan. Alan was the name of the Ken's side character in Barbie too, so that just makes me laugh that it's Ken and Alan.
Ken Allen, the orangutan. Oh my god.
So that could have honestly been the end of the story, and I think people would be satisfied.
So no, it gets so much better.
I wasn't ready.
Ken Allen is one of the most famous animals in the history of the San Diego Zoo because of his many successful escapes from his enclosure.
Good for you, Ken Allen.
Yeah, Ken Allen fucking rules.
You.
He even got a nickname, the Hairy Houdini.
Oh, that's good. I see what you did there.
Do you see what I did? So Ken was actually born in captivity. He was born at the San Diego Zoo in 1971. And around, I think it was 1985 exactly. In 1985, he started to break out of his enclosure, which was supposedly escape-proof. He got out multiple times that year. Sometimes he would bring lady friends with him.
We love that for him.
And he would just stroll around the zoo and look at the animals. He was not violent or aggressive when the zoo people tried to get him back into his enclosure. He just took walks and went on dates.
He was taking some gals out and getting fresh air, and then was like, is it time to go back?
Is it? All right.
All right, I guess we'll head on home. You know what? I had a good night.
The only time he did anything sort of aggressive was he threw rocks and debris at other apes in their cage. But I think it was
Billy whack much?
Billy whack much? Well, I think it was more like a haha, I'm on the other side of the. He was taunting them.
I'm free.
So escaped all the time. Zookeepers literally could not figure out how he was doing it, and they began surveillance on his enclosure to catch him in the act, but he always knew when he was being watched, so he wouldn't do anything. So then
he's the best.
He's the best. He's the best, dude. So then the zookeepers went undercover and started posing as tourists. They would wear like street clothes to watch him, but they didn't fool him
I
for
love that.
1 second. Like he knew it was
Oh,
them.
because
He would
Ken Allen
not, because
fucking
Ken Allen
knows.
rules.
You can't fool
You
Ken
can't
Allen.
fool Ken Allen. So they raised his
Oh
enclosure
my God.
wall an additional like
Hmm.
5 feet. Wasn't enough. Still got out.
Still didn't
Didn't
hold him
deter
in.
him.
Mm-mm. No.
Eventually, they hired professional rock climbers so that they would go in and find every finger, toe, foothold that they could find,
Get out.
seal him up. Like he can't climb out of his fucking enclosure anymore. They ended up spending like $40,000. This was in, the 80s. $40,000 to eliminate those holds and seal his enclosure. And even after they did that, he managed to escape at least one or two more times.
Yeah, he did.
Usually, when a tool of some kind was left in his reach, and he and another ape would use it to pry open a window and get out that way. He was determined, and I think it really seems like it became a game to him where he was like, I just want to prove that I can still get out.
Yeah, like bring on more challenges, more
Bring it on.
obstacles. Like I'm gonna get fucking
I'm gonna get
out
out of this
every
place.
time.
But he
Oh, I love
became
him.
a total icon. He had his own fan club. People made t-shirts and
Of
bumper
course.
stickers that said "Free Ken Allen." He was the best, and he was such a sweetie. And he did unfortunately pass in 2000. He developed prostate cancer and ended up dying at
Oh,
29 years old, which is pretty
a young
average.
29. Oh,
Well, it's average for orangutans in the wild. In
okay.
captivity, they've actually been known to live like 45 to 60 years, which is wild.
Whoa.
But Ken was just too
Damn.
good for this world. He had to go back to where
Mm-mm.
he came from and escape the
Ken Allen.
closures and the beyond.
I'm like, pour, not actually, but pour one out for Ken Allen.
Pour one out, man. I only have water now, but
Ken Allen. Oh my gosh.
anyway, love that ape.
I'm obsessed with that ape.
My next story, though.
Oh God. I'm terrified.
My next monkey story comes out of China.
I'm not ready.
And this is probably going to be a theme that's going to be recurring. A lot of monkey stories that I have on my list could basically be prequels to Planet of the Apes.
Okay, I
We're
need to
getting
look up on
there.
TikTok like what city this happens in, but I feel like I already have based on TikTok alone monkeying around segment ready, but you go ahead. I saw some things.
Hell yeah. Oh, and also, by the way, if you have not seen Planet of the Apes, and I'm talking like the original Planet of the Apes series, Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, stop wasting time. It's a fucking wild ride.
I love me some
I
Planet of the
never
Apes.
watched them. I watched them earlier this year for the first time.
Oh, wait, how did I not know this about you? I feel like I've been like forced by every man I've ever dated, and including my husband now. I've always dated people who will like really fuck with Planet of the Apes. And it's like one of Alex's weird things. And so I've always had to watch them. I can't believe
I
you just
mean,
watched them all this year.
I've seen the original obviously a couple times, and I've seen all the new ones, whatever. Seen the Mark Wahlberg edition of the Apes series, classic. But I had no idea how bonkers bananas out of this world the Planet of the Apes series got. Like I didn't know that in Beneath the Planet of the Apes you meet like a advanced human race that lives underneath the planet and worships a bomb. Like who? No one told
Like, it
me.
is
No one
not
told
even
me.
about the old monkeys at this point, Ashley. Like, we've taken a
No, it
journey
stops being about the monkeys very
almost
quickly and
immediately.
starts being about yeah, and it's just like from like Planet of the Apes is about the monkeys. All the other Planet of the
Yes.
Apes, wild. Anyways, so
Yeah. No, good stuff.
this is a story from a 2019 MIT Tech article written by Antonio Regalado. And this article is called Chinese Scientists Have Put Human Brain Genes in Monkeys, and yes, they are smarter.
Oh no.
So naturally, there's a lot of
True
issues.
fear realized.
True fear realized. Help. There's a lot of issues with genetically modifying animals. Research
Well,
involving,
sure.
yeah, primates is increasingly difficult to get away with in Europe and the United States, but China's like, fuck it, fuck you, fuck these hoes.
We're
Like,
gonna
we're
do
gonna do
it.
what we want to do. And they really do. So, according to their findings, the genetically modified monkeys did do better on memory tests, and their brains also took longer to develop, more so like human children do.
Woo.
The
Okay.
brain size, however, did not change. And that was kind of what they were hoping for. They were hoping that the brain size would change. The whole point of this was not like to create a Planet of the Apes scenario. They're doing it to try and learn more about the human brain.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's supposed to reflect on us.
Yeah. Didn't quite do that because here's the thing. We know that our human-like ancestors' brains rapidly grew in size and power at one point. And we assume that it was something within our genes, a gene that was chosen via natural selection to continue on reproductively. And by doing this test, they were hoping they could figure out which gene it was that caused that change. Because right now we have theories. And
Right.
since chimpanzees share 98% of our genes, they were hoping this experiment would highlight that one gene that made us human and them apes. So, what they did, they thought it was microcephalin because when human babies are born with damage to that gene, they're born with tiny heads. So this provided the link to the brain size, and chimpanzees don't have this gene. So that was the human gene they chose to splice into these chimpanzees.
Makes sense.
Again, didn't get the results they were hoping for. And European and American scientists are like, whoa, 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 slippery slope. We can't do this. We won't do this. But China is full speed ahead. They've already tested another gene. They have already been testing.
They're going real fast. They are not waiting around. Here we go.
No, a new gene, a DNA variant that's labeled SRGAPC2. I'm sorry, SRGAP2C, dyslexic, that arose about 2 million years ago. This gene has been dubbed the humanity switch, and by other scientists, the missing genetic link for its likely role in the emergence of human intelligence. But as of now, like I said, it's just a theory. So, scientists at the Kunming Institute of Zoology have already spliced this gene into chimpanzees, but they have not released any of their findings yet.
How recently did they do the splice?
This article came out in 2019 because a
Okay.
study came out in 2019 where they were showing what they
Right.
learned from the microcephalin. And
And we don't know about this
we
next
don't
one
know
yet.
about SRGAP2C.
I am
I am
nervous about
upset.
it. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling scared.
I'm feeling
Feeling a
some
lot of
kind of
things.
way.